Yo, what's good with you? On today's video, I got the best beginner guide to scripting in Roblox. This is part 3 for the series and stuff. Some people asked me for part 3, and another thing I've noticed people have asked about UI scripting and stuff, where people just generally have had questions in regards to it. So I decided to just add this onto the series and stuff. So if you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, I recommend watching part 1 and part 2 and stuff. This series is for, as the title implies, for beginners and people generally new. You could have started a few days ago, maybe a few months ago, and you're still, learning and whatnot. We're just gonna go over some basic things with the UI and stuff, showing you guys how you can change the properties, some of the functions you can use, and yeah, it'll be a quick video that's just revolving around UI and stuff. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Okay, so the first things first, if you don't know what UI is, stands for user interface, right? UI typically goes into starter GUI and stuff, right? So to start off, let's go ahead and click the plus icon, right? And then we're going to insert a screen GUI. So this is pretty much what stores the UI for that specific screen GUI, right? I wanted to cover two important properties here. First is the enabled property, which self-explanatory. It means that the UI is either enabled or it's disabled and stuff, right? So say if there was a UI that you wanted to have disabled by default, you would simply uncheck it and then you would enable it via a script whenever the time came. Certain situations I could see this, if you had like a custom health bar, if you had like a custom health bar and then but like you had like an intro screen and stuff, obviously you don't want the players to be able to see like their health on a loading screen. So that's an example. Another one is reset on spawn, which is a very good one. So again, it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you don't understand, reset on spawn means that the UI would reset back to the default, or let me put it like this. It would reset whenever a player dies. Now, what I mean by that is this. I don't mean it would like set everything back to like the Roblox default. It would set back to the default of like how it was when the player first spawned. What I mean is this, right? If we make changes to the screen GUI right now, right? Like if I insert text labels, text buttons and stuff right now, because we're not testing, we're editing in Studio, right? If I insert that stuff, right? And then I press play, it's always going to be there and stuff, right? But let's say we have scripts that change text, which every game has scripts that change the text, right? Like if you're playing an FPS game, at the top you have the timer that's telling you how much time is left in the match. If you're playing a battlegrounds game, let's say you enable or disable a setting and stuff, you obviously need it to display of whether or not you have setting enabled or disabled, right? The point is, if you were to die, it would reset that, because what happens is if this reset on spawn setting is enabled, anything that occurs after the player loads into the game will not be saved if they die and stuff, right? So any changes made would not save and stuff, right? So if I insert a text label, right, or let me click the plus icon, right, we're gonna insert a text button. So if I insert a text button and then, oh sorry, we also gotta re-enable it. So if I insert a text button and then I'm testing and everything, right, and then I change the text to, I don't know, like a mission or something, like go to these coordinates and stuff, right? But then let's say I die on the mission, right? If I have that reset on spawn setting enabled, the text would reset back to whatever it was before the player joined the game and stuff, right? Whatever you left the text as, like in Studio and stuff. So in this case, it would just reset back to the word button. So I hope that's, that makes sense to people. So yeah, there are obviously more properties, but these are two basically just the most important in my opinion. If you were curious to know what ignore GUI instead is, that just means it'll ignore this like invisible top bar and stuff, right? If I click play, like let me show y'all. If I press play, right, you'll notice how the button's at the top, but when I press play, you'll notice how the button it's been moved down, because it's like an invisible kind of, you could say, barrier or something here, preventing it from going to the top. But if you want a UI like to, like be where it is, like here, like you want it to be at the top, then all you got to do is simply just enable ignore GUI inset. Is that simple, right? And then now we can move on to the UI stuff. So as you guys can see, we have our text button here, right? I'll go through all the properties and stuff. Now I already explained to you guys properties in part 1, so I'm pretty sure you guys understand what most of these mean and stuff. You don't have to worry about the two the two like kind of confusing stuff, right? Like obviously line height, next selection, all that stuff. Focus on the more simple things, right? You guys are beginners. Focus on the more simple things. Name, position, size, transparency, color, text. Focus on the simple ones, right? So I'm gonna show you guys how to change all that stuff via scripting. You guys can obviously probably tell if you want to change the text, you simply just click it and then just change it to whatever. But I'm gonna show you guys how to do it with a script, right? So for this, we're gonna use a local script because when you're modifying UI, you want to make the changes. If you want to make the changes show on like players and stuff, you have to make those. You have to apply those changes on a local script, not a server script, because the whole point is UI is a local sided, is a client sided thing and stuff. So we have to change it on a local script. So let's open up starter player, insert a local script into starter player script. So let's click the plus icon, local script, right? So we can delete the print hello world, and then let's get to changing these properties. So let's first create a few variables, right? You guys remember variables, right? They store information. So let's first get our local player, right? So we're going to say local player, name of the variable is going to be player, then is equal to game.players.local player, right? So we've now gotten the player, whoever's this is and stuff, right? So then we're going to create another variable. We're going to create a variable for the UI. So we're going to say local screen GUI, right, is equal to player.player GUI. Now you could just say dot screen GUI. You could do that, but we are going to think smarter and stuff. We are going to put a colon, then we're going to say wait for child. The reason for this is that it's not a big of a deal when you're testing, like when you're learning and then this is the only stuff you have, but in an actual big game where you have a whole bunch of UI, a whole bunch of assets like in the map and all this stuff, you have a whole bunch of assets and stuff, that stuff takes time to load. So pretty much if the script starts running and then tries looking for something that doesn't exist, you're gonna have an error. That's why you do wait for child, because it's gonna wait for it. So quotation marks screen GUI, right? Now we can start modifying properties. So we're just gonna type screen GUI dot, then we can reference a property. Obviously you can change the name, so I'm gonna show you guys how to change like the name and the text and stuff, right? Both can be changed the same way since they're both strings. So you could say name or text, right? Or sorry, make sure you do dot text button. I apologize. That text button, right? So you could do name or text. They're both strings, as you can clearly see, so we can change them both the same way. So let's say we wanted to change the text, right? We'll say text, then you say equal to, that's how we're changing something, right? Then quotation marks because it is a string, and then now you would change it to whatever you want, right? So for this, we would let's, I don't know, say wow, right? We could just say like wow. And then I'm pretty sure you guys remember, if you want to include something that like if you wanted to like have spaces, you could just do this. But let's say if you wanted to like include other things like a stat or something, you would just do dot dot, and then you would just put your number, your string, whatever, and then you could just keep going like that, right? So that's how we would change the text, right? The default text is button. If we press play, the text is changed to wow, right? So that's just simply how to change the text. Going through the other properties, we have position. This is a UDM2. If you don't understand what that means, it's pretty much just a position. I think the best way to really put it is a position on the player's screen. It's different than a position on the ground and stuff, right? Like when a player is walking and stuff, like let me show y'all. If I press play, right? Oh, it will ignore the error, but if I press play and everything, right, and if I find, let's say, my humanoid, I don't know why I'm R6, but anyway, if I go to my humanoid root bar, right, and I have my position is different because this is like kind of really this is in the actual world itself. And this is a vector 3 coordinate, right? This, however, for the UI and stuff, this is a like on your screen coordinate position thing, right? So they're a little different. I just wanted to clarify so that people didn't think positions in-game are the same as like UI and stuff. So yeah, so for position, the way we would change the position, we would say is equal to UDM2, and make sure you do the 2 dot new, in parentheses you would then set it. Now if you're unsure of how to set the position and stuff, oh by the way, this is also how you would change the size. This is also how you would change the size as well. If you're unsure of how exactly you would change the position or size, all you literally have to do is find your UI element and then just modify it. It's this is what you're doing, this size and positioning, right? So let's say I want the text button to be longer, right? we're going to change the X value. We're going to make it bigger. So we're just going to change it from 200 to 300, but we don't want it to start out like this. We want it to change it like this via the script, right? So we're like, okay, 0 300 looks 0 by 300 looks nice, right? So we can set it back. So I'm gonna just press Control and Z to set it back, and then we can just go here and we can simply just copy what we just made, or the changes we just did. So 0 by 300, comma 0 by 50. Now, if you're wondering why we're not doing the special brackets, I'm honestly not sure if you could do it like that. I'm honestly not sure if you could do it like that. I do the parentheses method. I don't know if you can do it with special brackets. I don't think you can. And I would recommend you guys just do it like this. It's just better to do it like this. But yeah. So we would change the size like this. So if we press play, right, you'll notice the button's position has gotten, the button's position has changed. You notice it was up here, now it's down here and stuff, right? But then if we want to change the size, we would just change position, size. You notice how they both say UDIM too, because they both use the same type of you could say on-screen coordinate, and you see the button got longer, right? So that's how you change the position and sizing. Yeah, moving on. For the other properties, you know, we have let's see, we have transparency, which you guys know, that's just, you know, making things transparent. So you can really tell what something needs to be based off of the little brief description it gives you. So whatever it says here is what it needs to equate to. So transparency and stuff, if we press equal transparency, it's equal to one number, so it can be any type of number. Obviously you can't say in quotation marks invisible. No, that's not going to work and stuff, right? To make something fully invisible, you would just set the transparency to 1. If you want it to be halfway, like if you want it to be like see-through, then 0.5. If you don't want any transparency, 0, right? So yeah, that's transparency. Then we have the background. We have background colors, and there's also like text colors as well. So I guess this just generally covers text colors. So we could just say background color 3 is equal to color 3 dot new. It's similar to actually the way we did what's it called, the way we did the UDIM2 and stuff. So dot new, and then you could either put the numbers. I'm pretty sure not even or most scripters don't usually have this stuff memorized. So you would just click the little color wheel, and then you would just select whatever color you want to change it to. So I would just select red. If I press play, you'll notice the button has changed its color, stuff, right? So those are properties, right? And those are really most of the properties you'll be changing. The last thing I wanted to cover for properties is visible. So if we say visible means it's, as it implies, it's either visible or it's not visible. Now, how do I put this? I want to how do I do this? Okay, I want to explain the difference, because some of y'all might be wondering, what is the difference between transparency and visibility? Because y'all may be wondering, is setting the text button transparency to 1, right, which makes it invisible, the same thing as setting the visible property to false? I'm gonna show you guys why it's not. So if I set the text button transparency to 1, right? So if I click play, right, well, now that I think about it, I just realized I can't really see the button. The point is this, right? If you set something like to fully transparent, you're not making it so it can't be used. You're just making it so it can't be seen. What that means is, if a player was to click on a button that's supposed to do something and it's just simply transparent and stuff, where people can't see it, fully transparent, then the button would still be triggered if a player is clicking on it and stuff. So if you want to make something that's like, if you want to just make it so they can't see it, but it can, I guess, still be used or something, then you could do transparency is equal to 1. If it's a text label, then obviously you could just do transparency. But if you want to make it so it's not visible, as well as the fact that it cannot be used, then you would say visible. As you can see, it's a Boolean, which means it can only be one of two things: true or false. True means visible, false means not visible or invisible. So if I press play, it is gone. I know both of them are kind of in a sense gone, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? So yeah, that was the last property. Then last thing I want to talk about is functions, right? And I also wanted to, let me also say something too. Okay, so the same way we changed all the properties for the text label, for the text button and stuff, you would do the same thing for a text label, the same thing for an image label, the same thing for an image button. I just wanted to clarify that in case people were worried that, like, you had to learn how to change the properties for each individual UI element. No, you would change the properties the same way for text buttons, image labels, text labels, frames. It doesn't matter and stuff. The only real difference between them is the functions. That's what's really the difference and stuff, right? So obviously a text label doesn't have mouse button one click because you can't click on a, well, actually I do think it has a, oh no, yeah, you can't click on a text label, right? But you can click on a text button. That's the point of a button. So now I'm going to go over the button, the functions for the button. So I'm going to give you guys a brief explanation for each function. Just to clarify, the functions are the things with the purple lightning, or is that pink, the pinkish lightning bolts next to them. I'm just gonna go over the ones that are really important, not every single one and stuff. So the ones that you probably will be using and stuff. So first you have mouse button one click. Simply whenever you click the button with your the left mouse button and stuff, right? Like this. Simple, right? Then moving on, input began. This means whenever any input has been triggered, whether it be the person has pressed the button, they've clicked the button, they've right-clicked the button, they've moved their mouse into it. It doesn't matter. Any form of input involving the button. Activated is a little different. This is for when the button has been tapped by a mobile player and stuff, right? So that's how you would use it for mobile and stuff. Mouse button is for people using PC and, computers and stuff. This is for like people using like iPads, phones and stuff. I don't think for console though. Input ended, opposite of input began and stuff, simply whenever any input is ended. Change, now change is when any property has changed. What that means is, remember, these are the properties: the size, the position, the background color, the text itself. If any of these properties were to change while the game is running and stuff, the text change or anything, then that changed function would be triggered and stuff, right? And then let's see. Oh, mouse enter. This is a good one. Mouse enter, mouse leave. So mouse enter is pretty much, it's not the same thing as clicking. It's literally just, as the name implies, it's when your mouse enters, right? Like this, just by doing that, the function will be triggered and stuff. Then if I leave, then the mouse leave function will be triggered and stuff. So it's more so for like a selection system. Like if your mouse is hovering over something and then you want to let the player know, like, okay, like this is what you have currently like selected at the moment, because, or at least if you were to left click, this is what you would select. Yeah, that's a better way to put it and stuff, right? Then let's see what else we got. Touch tap, that's just another mobile thing. Mouse move, that's when the player moves their mouse while their cursor is inside of the UI element. Let's see what else is important. Oh, mouse button went up. This is if you were to let go of the mouse button after you clicked your left mouse button while inside of the UI element. And mouse button went down, the complete opposite and stuff. It's when you're holding it down while inside of the UI element. And then yeah, I want to say, yeah, that's all the real important stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's set up. I'm just gonna do one. I'm not gonna go through all of them, obviously. I just wanted to set up one basic function to combine what we learned about properties and functions. So let's set up a function, right, to where when we click on the button, it's going to change the text. So we're gonna say that mouse button one click, right? Because when players left click on their mouse, connect function, close parentheses, enter. Then we're going to change the text. So screen GUI, that text button, that text, let's set the text, is equal to the text has been changed. And then let's say we wanted to include, or no, because we could just include, yeah, no, it's not really needed. The text has been changed. Yeah, we could leave it like that. So let's say that. Let's set up that function. The text has been changed, right? We click play, the text will still be button by default. Then if I left click, boom, the text is changed, right? That simple. So let me also take this as an example to show you guys something. Okay. I'm gonna demonstrate what I was explaining in the beginning of the video. Reset on spawn is currently enabled. Watch what happens, right? You'll notice at the moment, right, the text is at the button. That's what we left it as in edit mode, right? But if I left click, we just changed the text. However, if I were to reset my character, wait for, and then let's wait for me to respawn. You'll notice the text has changed itself back. That is what I meant, in case anyone was confused on what reset on spawn is. Now, if you disable that, it'll remain the same regardless, unless the player leaves the game. That's the only way it would change. Or of course, if a script may changes to it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed part 3. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed this one. Going over UI scripting. I will continue the series as long as the series continues to get love. If you guys have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments, guys. I really don't know what else to talk about and stuff. Leave them in the comments and stuff as to what else you would like to learn about, any topics that are beginner level, close to intermediary level as well and stuff. So if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Really do appreciate it and stuff. I have a ton of other tutorials if you want to check out how to do anything. I have like over 600 videos. Just go check something out and I probably should find something. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.